Earlier today, the Honourable Kathleen Wynne, Premier of Ontario, and His Highness the Aga Khan signed a historic agreement. The government and the Ismaili Imamat have agreed to collaborate on education initiatives. These include sending Ontario teachers to Aga Khan academies, scholarships for exceptional Aga Khan Academy graduates to Ontario universities, and curriculum resources for Ontario schools that will draw on the Aga Khan Museum for its expertise in the pluralism of Muslim cultures. The agreement also establishes policy dialogues held jointly by the government and the Ismaili Council, hosted at the Ismaili Centre.
Today, Ontario and the Ismaili Imamat have signed really a historic agreement of cooperation to explore areas of cooperation and joint initiatives, including education, diversity, and economic development. I have known for some time the depth of commitment to education and to community involvement and to intergenerational sense of responsibility within this community. And it is remarkable. So I just want to acknowledge that. And this agreement is, I think, a partnership that's going to allow us to have a mutual benefit in terms of education, sharing of resources, but also in terms of policy development. And that was the conversation His Highness and I were just having. The discussion about pluralism that is so important to the world, yes, it is important to the Ismaili Imamat. Yes, it is important to Ontario. But it is important for the world that we have a better understanding of how pluralism can work. And I think the language in the agreement is exploring how we can encourage a disposition towards pluralism. I think that is so critical. And I don't think that any group of people is positioned better than this collective group to have that discussion. And so I am very excited about what we can do together. The Ismaili Imamat is really an ideal partner, and I hope we will be an ideal partner in Ontario in return.
I want to tell you how happy and grateful my community and I are for this agreement that we have just signed. Our history, our interpretation of our faith is anchored in the intellect, and we rejoice in investing in the human intellect. It's part of the ethics of what we believe in, and it's part of what we believe distinguishes us, obviously, from the environment in which we live. So the agreement that we have is giving us new opportunities to widen our exposure to education in the industrialized world, but to widen that education within a context where our values are the same. And that is very important, because it's clear that with a global community such as the one of the Ismaili community, we need to invest in global values, in values which can be applied to any society at any time in any part of the world. And this is what we are finding in Canada, that we will have a partnership with you. And in investing in that partnership, we're investing in a profession which I have to say has difficulty in the developing world. There are three professions in the developing world which are undervalued. The first is nursing, the second is education, and the third is journalism. And yet all those professions are critical for the development of a quality civil society in the third world. And the partnership that you have allowed us to create is going to come in and assist us to reposition one of the greatest professions that we need in the third world. So I would ask you to think of this not only in terms of what we will be able to achieve in terms of collaboration, but in the much wider context of the teaching profession and its position in the developing world. But then we were discussing something else. We were discussing dialogue. We were discussing policy. We were discussing what ideas we need to move forwards in various parts of the developing world. And sharing these ideas, talking about them openly and freely, but within the context of common values, shared values, is an absolutely wonderful opportunity. And I thank you very much for making that possible. Thank you.